to back to back to back. Ah, the panning on this one. Back to back to back to back. Yes, Charlie. What is up, y'all? Xander here. I'm an artist and producer, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the one, the only Brat. I've been feeling a little bit nostalgic for another Brat summer, so I'm super excited to get back into this record. Let's break down the sound. All right, getting into track 1, 360. I love this lead instrumental. I love the background vocals in this one. Yes, Charlie. Yeah, 360. When you look at me, look what you see. I like how the lyrics here are all about like posing and seeing somebody from 360 degrees. It all just kind of fits the theme. I remember when this song came out and everybody was like, what does that mean? What is So Julia? There's like a lower vocal in the second pre-chorus section here that wasn't there before. Yeah, 360. When you're in the mirror, do you like what you see? When you're in the mirror, you're just looking at me. I'm everywhere, I'm So Julia. That little melodic hook there is so catchy. That little song is just so, it is a perfect little pop song. It is just so perfectly addictive. Charli is a genius at writing hooks. She has so many different hook writing techniques here. The inclusion of a number. So anytime you include a number in your lyrics, it's always going to be instantly catchy to people for whatever reason, because our mind kind of wants to fill in the blank to see what's like next in the cycle of numbers, or like what number comes next. You know, if I say 1, 2, 3, 4, your head is immediately going to kind of fill in the blank and say 5, right? So 360, that immediately gets our attention. There's also the use of non-lyric hooks here. It's so catchy. And also kind of using slang that you've come up with yourself and kind of gets people's attention, like, oh, what is that? Like the So Julia lyric. Nobody had ever said or heard that before. So that kind of grabs our attention right there. So in the chorus alone, 3 different hook techniques that are solid. That's next level songwriting. So Charli is just, she is the master of hooks. Absolutely. All right, club classics. Right now. It's like when I go to the club, I wanna hear this club classics. Club classics. Club classics. When I go to the club. We've got some crunchy sounds, but also like the kick drums, the drum sounds are very smooth. So there's a nice contrast there. So the production still kind of is interesting. Yes. And then we get this sparkly, glittery sound to give us just a little bit of a break. It's different from the other sounds we've been hearing. Now we've got a new sound here, a new texture. See, she understands that sometimes a hook just needs to be simple. It just needs to be singable, you know? That's what gets it stuck in people's heads. And that's what matters in pop, is can people sing it back to you? If not, you know, it's a little hard to remember. That is a club classic in and of itself. I love the reference to Sophie in that one as well. Yeah, this one is a really good look at the importance of contrast in production because we have so many different kind of sounds going on and yet they work together so well. If you start to get sounds that just kind of are all the same, then at that point like nothing really sticks out. But because all the sounds here were so different that anytime we kind of introduced something new, they also made an effort to highlight it and let it have its moments, like the womp 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 section that kind of came later on, and then the kick had its own little moment towards the beginning, and there was some other crunchy noises in there that came out later. But again, they all had their little moments to come out and shine, and it was simple but just enough because it's dance music, so they understand that really well. It doesn't need to be this overly written poetic masterpiece. We just need to be able to sing to it and groove to it. Those are two kind of the most important things when it comes to EDM, in my opinion anyway. Sympathy is a Knife. This is one of my favorites. All the elements are really choppy. Her melody, the production, and then when we get to the chorus, we get these really high piercing but stabbing quality. So everything is kind of staccato like that. Very stabby. I think it's a reference to Psycho. I read that somewhere about this production, about the stabbing scene. So brilliant use of production there. She's so good at concepts. Like the lyrics here all make sense. They're all tied together with like a theme of weapons. See, Charli's a good lyricist too. Don't let her like little other hooky fun songs fool you. She knows what she's doing. That's Mother. I love how wide the sound is too. I'm trying to figure out, is that her voice that they've kind of like distorted and moved around on either side? Because it hits on left and then right. It's moving back and forth. Some effect with the reverb there, I think. It sounds really cool. That one is one of my, I'm a huge Charli XCX stan, and that one is probably in my top 5. It would be impossible for me to like rank all of them, but I love this one so much. Just what is referred to as prosody, the appropriate relationship of all elements here is just outstanding to me. The way that the production is super short and stabby and kind of piercing in both the verse and chorus sections, and then her melody line too, especially in the verse sections, is really choppy. I don't wanna force a smile, and then we get like this really belty intense part in the chorus section, which Charli really shows off her vocals in this one, and I wish she would do a lot more of that because she sounds great. She sounds phenomenal in this song, and the way that the lyrics are all kind of tied back to this theme of weapons and kind of hurting herself, I think is very interesting, and it's a cool way to kind of wrap up the theme and keep everything kind of on topic to make the song really feel cohesive. So I really appreciated that about this song. To me, that's the mark of a really smart, not just songwriter, but just like overall musician, when you kind of have the ability to tie everything together into your bigger concept like that. I might say something stupid. I do appreciate how stripped back this one is. It gives us a moment to breathe in the album. I think we've all felt that at a party at some point, so that lyric hits pretty hard. Yeah, it's funny that she says I'm famous but not quite because I know that she didn't expect Brat to blow up the way that it did, but I'm really happy it did because I've been a Charlie fan for a while, but I'm not one to gatekeep the artist that I love. I think that she deserves all the attention in the world. I think that she is brilliant when it comes to hook writing, songwriting in general, and how she's able to work with her producers both on the instrumentation and vocal level of everything and kind of being able to tie it all together. I think that she is just a really well-rounded artist and musician, and her branding also is very, very strong, which I think a lot of artists forget about or kind of hate doing, but I can tell Charlie kind of leans into it and she really understands it well. I do like that we have this breather in this album because this album is an emotional roller coaster. So we need moments like this to kind of stop and reflect and catch our breath. I've been looking at you. Talk, talk. Putting holes in your head. Keeping this a secret. I like the guitar in the background. It makes this song feel a little bit nostalgic in a weird way. A lot of glossy sounds too. This is probably the prettiest song on the album. Both the way that she sings it, there's a lot more air involved in the sound, more head register dominant. But also the sounds are a lot glossier and more glittery. Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. I love this bridge section. She doesn't always do bridges. Actually, I don't think the last three songs, the last three like full songs had a bridge even. Yeah, Talk Talk is definitely like the prettiest song that we've heard so far, probably on the album in its entirety. It's just a very bright, refreshing feeling song when you have kind of like high glittery and glossy elements like that. It just comes across as just like refreshing and, just very pleasant to listen to. I really like how they made that one that it's kind of like a transitional noise kind of pan across the stereo field. It's grabs our attention immediately and it feels very like wondrous, like, oh, what's about to happen. And the contrast with that and the drums felt very cohesive. Again, I really like the production on this entire album. It's so well done and also complements everything that she's singing about too. When you have lyrics that don't really match up with the production or the concept itself, it starts to feel like a little weird and all over the place. I think that's one of the reasons that Brat really hit from like an artistic standpoint, is that it all just kind of melds together super well. All right, Von Dutch. Ooh. Who's this about? See, the production here is the like polar opposite of Talk Talk. This is very gritty and metallic. Total contrast. I love the drum part. Actually, I've loved all her drum parts so far. The way her drums are produced are super full, but like clear sounding also. It almost feels like she's riding on a motorcycle or something. It's such a like mechanical type of sound that we're getting in this one. I like how they kind of took everything away except her voice before bringing in all the instruments again, so it feels really impactful when we come back into the chorus. You want choruses to feel bigger than everything else because that's kind of the most important part of the song. I like the amount of variety that we get on this album because, yeah, it's a dance album, but there's multiple different versions of that, y'all. Like, it can be so extensive. You can really do anything with it if you really want it to be. Like, we had this fun romance-filled thing before, and now we have this very gritty, in-your-face attitude type of song. And, this song wouldn't work if the production was, like, glittery and glossy, like talk. It just wouldn't. That's why they needed something aggressive, in your face, kind of metallic feeling. For Charli especially, I think makes the most amount of sense. So yeah, again, just perfect alignment of all these elements. All right, Everything is Romantic. This is one of my favorites too. I love this intro. This intro is so iconic and so different. It almost feels like a Lana Del Rey song at the beginning of Everything is Romantic.
Bad tattoos under the tan skin, Jesus Christ on a plastic sign.
Even the lyrics kind of lend itself to Lana because they're very descriptive, very sense-bound. She's forcing us to use our senses of vision here to kind of imagine what it is that she's talking about. That's a very traditional songwriting kind of methodology. Oh, and then it just switches over to this very, very electronic sound. I like how different all the sections have felt so far. Like we had something grand and majestic to something like very kind of gritty and in our face, and now something that's kind of almost hypnotic. With the drum part especially. And now they break it down even further. This song kind of takes us on a journey of sorts. Which I guess makes sense if you really think about the concept. Because it's like you can find romance in any setting or situation. So if every section is a different room or place, and she's still talking about romance, then it fits perfectly. Yeah, with that one, it feels like we're going on a trip throughout the entire world, and literally everything feels romantic because every part of this song feels so different and unique somehow, but she still managed to tie it all together under this one hook, and that's very hard to do. It's very hard to write a song that has very distinct sections and not make it feel like 4 or 5 different songs. And this one doesn't. It feels like one song that's all tied together. And, you know, this grand, majestic intro, which I love, is one of my favorite moments on Brat, actually, is just that intro alone. It's very, very Lana Del Rey feeling. It's just majestic and grand. And who thought we'd be getting like flutes and violins and whatnot on a Charli XCX album? But we did, and I'm happy we did. All right, now we get into Rewind.
Sometimes
Ooh, nice little reversal sound there that kind of panned across the stereo field. Ooh, did it again. I like kind of when she does this sort of rapping type of thing. It really shows her versatility as a performer. Oh, this one has so much little ear candy. That adds so much from a production standpoint. That's what we're doing now, revisiting this album, actually, now that I think about it. Rewind back to 2024. That was a good year for pop music. All the pop girlies were releasing that year. I love this part of the song where it goes into that vocal chop. That's so cool. I love vocal chops. All of these sounds also kind of sound video gamey, like something that you could picture on like a Sega Genesis type of game. So that actually makes a lot of sense too. God, I think this is actually one of the more underrated songs on this one, but I love this song. I think that, like I mentioned, I like all the choices, the different sounds, and the little kind of ear candy effects, the literal like real world effects of having that kind of rewind effect, and also a couple other things here and there that adds just so much character to production when you have things like that included in there. And also, like, I didn't really notice or think about it before, but all of these sounds really do sound like they could belong in some type of video game from like the 90s. And that definitely makes sense for her in particular, because that's when she would have grown up in, because she and I are the same age. So I caught those references too, Charlie. Yeah, I missed that time too. So I totally get it. All right. So this is the kind of the only ballad on Brat.
And you know you always said it's okay to cry, so I know I can cry, I can cry.
Can you imagine all the cool stuff Sophie would be making now if she was still around? This song is so sad. But I'm glad it's on here. It really shows Charlie's ability to write about anything. I like how subdued the production is here too. Like, it's still really good, but it gives Charlie and her lyrics a chance to shine. Lightning strike. She also sounds phenomenal in this one. I love those moments of like head mix that she uses in there. It's okay to cry. I love that reference in there. So that's So I. Admittedly, whenever I listen to Brat, because I've heard it about 15 times at this point, probably even more. Admittedly, this is a song that I usually skip because it is a lot to take in just from an emotional level. Like, I was a big Sophie fan too, and I was thoroughly shocked at, what had happened with her. And I can't even imagine like what Charlie and AG and the people that worked at PC Music thought about all of that and what they must have felt. I think that this song is incredibly interesting though, because it's not just necessarily about grief. It's also kind of us or Charlie contemplating her shortcomings as a friend. And we don't always get songs that are about things like that, not always about like losing someone, but also about kind of the ramifications and what the people left behind are feeling. We very rarely get anything like that on a pop record to at this type of scale. So it's very refreshing, it's very different. It's also, again, another emotional trip on this album, because this album is all over the place emotionally speaking, but it lives up to its name, Brat. That's how bratty kids are, so they're all over the place emotionally. So it's good that we would include like a sad moment of regret in here as well. All right, moving right along to Girl So Confusing.
It's so confusing sometimes to be a girl.
I love the panning that they do on this one.
It's so confusing sometimes to be a girl.
It's like disorienting on purpose. Girl So Confusing by Lorde. It's so iconic that they worked it out on the remix with both of them. I still can't believe that. It's so funny that I'm so used to hearing the remix version with Lorde at this point that I kept expecting her to come in and say we worked it out on the remix part of the song. So it was weird like not hearing that, but still this song is really good. And I'm really glad that it's included in this album, because we very rarely hear about, stuff like this on like a pop album. This type of song topic I don't think is explored enough. And a lot of times it's not that people don't like each other or just like hate each other. Sometimes there's just like a misunderstanding amongst, when they were kids at the time. So of course there was going to be some kind of weird tension there if they didn't necessarily like understand or like click right away. So sometimes there's more to the story to other people than but from a production standpoint, that one was really interesting with what it was doing with the stereo field. And again, I like the contrast here with the different textures that were being used all over the place. We had crunchy, kind of blippy, bubbly stuff in the chorus section only, and then that kick drum that was like nice and full, but still kind of tucked away in the background. It was really great. I love all the sounds that they used on this album. Apple. What a brilliant concept. This album has a song about generational trauma. Like, what? Charli made dance music so complex with this one. So emotionally complex, I should say. Which is good. It shows that it can be, a deep genre too. Just depends what you choose to write about. So it does kind of feel like we're getting away to a better place, at least momentarily, The trauma's still there, but we're escaping it for just a little bit. I love that little stuttering moment. And it feels so wide. See, this is another one that really proves her songwriting chops. The idea of taking an idiom, the apple don't fall far from the tree, and writing an entire song around that, I think is so brilliant. Brilliant. A lot of times songwriters will use idioms in their lyrics, but I think it's a lot harder to have that in itself be the concept. And, it takes a lot of effort to make that work from a lyrical perspective and a sound design perspective as well. But I think that this song more than pulled it off. The title Apple is really, it does kind of lend itself to a more cheery, happy song. So even though the lyrics itself, the actual topic about generational trauma is kind of deep and heavy, I don't think the song would have worked as well if the production was doom and gloom and kind of, reflecting that trauma. I think it kind of works better the way that they did it. So kudos to her for that, for making a concept like that work so well on an EDM album. We have a song about generational trauma. That's crazy. Back to back. I love that snare in this one that's kind of splattery. Usually I don't like drums like that, but I do like it in this song. It's very crunchy too. The panning on this one. Back to back to back to back. Yes, Charli. This is definitely one of the more catchier ones. And that's really saying something for Charli because, again, she is the master of hooks. I like the change in melody that we get here. Now everything's kind of smoother, so it kind of feels like we get a little bit of a relief from the cycle. She's found a little bit of clarity here. Back to back. What a catchy song. And the hook is very simple. There's not a lot of story involved here. There's not a lot of context that we get, but I kind of like that because, this is a situation that a lot of us have been in before. So it's kind of easier to insert ourselves into the narrative here. Since there aren't a lot of details, it's easier for us to feel like we're falling back to back to back to back to back with her. So that's kind of an interesting case where usually those small details in songwriting really work, and you want stuff like that because it kind of builds a world and builds an entire story in the song. But sometimes you don't always need that. Sometimes a good hook and getting your audience involved is really all you need. All right, Mean Girls.
Yeah, it's 2 a.m. and she's out there. Worships Lana Del Rey in her AirPods. Yeah,
as she should. Love Lana. Charli, when are we getting a remix with Lana? Or a song with Lana? I don't care. I'll take either. I'll take anything with you two. This one to me feels the most Daft Punk-ish. I love that. It's that keytar or a guitar or I don't know what instrument that is. It just, that feels very Daft Punk to me. The sound and what it's playing. Intelligent. Yeah, even the vocoder, background vocals here, very Daft Punk. It's interesting we're getting a piano solo in a Charli album. We don't see that often. But again, that feels very Daft Punk too. I love how descriptive that one is. See, that one's kind of the opposite of back to back. Like in this particular one, she is painting like a very distinct picture of a very distinct type of person. That's kind of the whole point, right? It's like this is the anthem for this type of audience, this type of demographic. So it makes sense to do that in the song. See, it just, songwriting techniques vary from the concept itself. And I think that it either way works. You just have to know what concept you're going for and what works lyrically. I think about it all the time. Actually, this is kind of a ballad too, now that I think about it.
I think about it all the time, that I might run out of time, but I finally met my baby, and the baby might be mine. I think about it all
Man,
the time.
I swear, when you get into your 30s and you see people like around you getting married and having kids, it's a weird feeling because those people are different from that point moving forward. And it's hard to describe because they're still the same person, but people, but it's just not the same. Their energy's different. Not good or bad, but they've just changed. That's something that really changes you. I love this bridge section where it's kind of just her contemplating on all of that kind of heavy stuff, which is important for people to do. Well, I guess that's more of a post-chorus. I remember the first time that I heard this one, and I was literally, for whatever reason, I was stunned because it felt so different from anything I had heard from her. It hit me really emotionally, and I was blown away by like how smart I thought the production was in this one and the songwriting too. Just like every other song, but for some reason in this song it just hit harder for me on an emotional level. Like that what sounds like a snare or like a rim cymbal here, they've gotten to kind of sound like a ticking clock. And it plays throughout basically the entire song, which if you're going to have a song called I Think About It All the Time, what a brilliant lead instrument to have there, right? Because we have this, the only other thing that we have most of the time is this synth that just kind of plays like it's doing very simple stuff in the background. Like the focus really is the story that she's telling us, the emotion she's going through, and this ticking clock that's kind of going along with her. The other thing that we get are like a lot of stutters, and I think that those make even more sense in a song like this where it's kind of like we can get stuck feeling about things like this, kind of things that you don't necessarily want to rush into, but also you worry like if you have the time to be able to do it later. So yeah, man, this is a brilliant song. I love this song. This is one of my favorites too, and I think that people overlook it because it's not necessarily a club banger, but at the same time, like, we need to realize that Charli's a much more complex artist than that. She's not always just here to do songs like club classics and 360. She's much more than that, and I'm really happy that this song was included on this album because we know what other pop stars are out here singing about potential like parenthood and fear of missing out on life. I think that that's a very, very important topic for the demographic that this album is trying to reach most, which is people in like their mid to kind of late to early 30s ish, maybe even a little bit younger than that, but still you start to feel that, especially around your mid 20s. So this was an important song to include on this album. So closing out the album on 365, let's end on a banger. I love that it's basically a remix of 360. Get it? The entire album brings us back to the 360 motif.
Here we go.
You bumping that? Yeah, I'm bumping that.
365 party girl. Should we do a little key?
Now bumping that means something totally different too. Even that's been flipped around.
365 party girl.
down 999. See, she keeps including numbers in there because that's a good hook. Now we go into a different room. She said with AG she wanted each section of this song to feel like you're going into a different room in the club. I think that's such a cool concept. I'm a brat when I'm pumping that. Are you pumping that? It's crack, I'm pumping that. Love that part of the song. Where she does the title drop. Yes! Yes! I like how the same background vocals are affected differently now too. Like they're under a different reverb, so they feel like they're coming from a different space. And it gets trippier too, so it kind of feels like we're going like further into the night with her. Like it's an entire night in the course of one song. Very smart production. Ah, God. The way it circles back. Brilliant. Brilliant. Such a brilliant album. Brat Summer forever. Oh my God. All right, y'all. So thank you for joining me on my re-listen of Brat. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. That was so much fun. I'll be re-listening again probably sometime this year. So again, thanks so much for joining me in breaking down the sound. Until the next one.